everyone, and welcome back to painting with me today. I am going to be painting some more on this very large Khadi paper, and I think it was 12-ish by 16 inches, I think is what it measured out when I measured this A3 size, so it is a really good size, and I like it because it's 320 GSM rather than the 300 GSM that my cold press watercolor paper is, and it's a little bit bigger in size than, you know, my little 9 by 12 pads. Like, look how much bigger that is. And I feel like today, doing some intuitive painting, I want a lovely abstract in a few colors that I think are going to come out quite amazing. I don't know, maybe. I'm hoping. And I kind of feel like I want one more color out here. Let's see. Yeah. I'm kind of wanting to, I love this color. It's my favorite color, sage blue in this matte acrylic. And I kind of want to mix it with touches of blue-red medium, orange medium, a brown. I might want a darker brown, and then a warm gray. And here's my color palette for today. I've done it in another art piece that may or may not be coming up. And I want to paint with these colors today, and so it's kind of my inspiration. And it looks like I got a fold up there on that paper, but I don't even care. And we discovered on the last video that I did on this paper that peels off quite nicely from the edges, more so than I even expected it. So I'm going to tape it off so that I have a little bit of an edge. And I've got it taped down to an artist panel, which I link all this stuff under the videos for you guys, so definitely check the description. I do try to link everything so that it's convenient for you to find stuff. And I'm going to grab probably just my big filbert because I need to go to the art store. I almost want one that's even bigger than this, but I need to go look at them in person. Sometimes ordering, you know, a paintbrush on the internet, it's kind of hard to see what you're getting. So I'm almost out of white gesso. I do feel I need to go hit the art store, but I need the white. I got some white paint out just in case. And I like using the gesso with the paints because makes it more spreadable, makes it easier to use. I mean, it's weird how much easier it is to paint with a little bit of gesso in the paint, and it makes it gritty so we can draw on top of it. But I think today I'm not going to draw on top of it, but I do want to make some marks. I'm feeling a little more minimalist abstract today, but I do want maybe something showing underneath, like some of these organic mark making things. Sometimes that's my favorite part when it shines through. And I hold the pencil way back so that it's more of an uncontrolled mark and a little bit shaky, whereas if you hold it up next to the top like you do a pencil, it's really hard to get loose. So if you feel like I can't get loose, pull back, and then it's just not as controllable. And I love doing initial mark making like this because some of it may show through, and it's kind of exciting when it peeks in, and you might not see any of it, but it does get rid of that blank page, so you're not stuck with a blank page staring you down. So maybe just throw out some of your favorite marks and then you'll just see what you end up with. Okay, kind of feeling like the brown. Mix this with some gesso. And you'll notice I always start an abstract in the corners. I like doing that because it kind of gets you started outside the center and gives you somewhere to go. And I also want this thing, and I'm going to go ahead and use that as my helper, my paint helper. It is my paint assistant. This paper's weird. It's a different kind of paper than, you know, what you're used to with cold press paper, which is why I initially didn't really like it, but now I'm like, oh, I love it. After working with what I assume is this Khadi paper in that art journal, I have developed a new respect for this paper that I did not at all have going into buy when I first bought it, and I thought, ooh, I don't like this paper at all. Okay, let's go into the gray. I don't even worry about mixing here on my brush or contaminating my paints. I do contaminate the paint a little bit, but I'm not too worried about it. This is a nice paint, but it's better than craft paint, but I'd still call it probably a student paint. I don't think it's artist grade, but I could be completely wrong, and you might have somebody in the comments school me on it, but I like it because it's not a craft paint, and you know, if you're making art, it's good if you can, you know, go with art materials rather than craft materials. And so this is like my happy medium between the materials. Like, feel like I'm not wasting good paint when I'm painting with it if I'm experimenting and playing like this, but it gives you a lot of colors, and it's a matte finish when it's done, which I love. Like, I don't like shiny at all. Some people are all about the shine. I'm all about the matte. Ooh, look at this. It's already a good paint day. Whoa, I love it. I love it. I love it. Now, I'm kind of feeling like maybe I'll throw this orange in there. And again, I'm just getting color down here, not really worrying about it. If I want the color to stay pure, rather than mixing in with whatever else I've done, I'll pick up a new paintbrush. But I'm kind of feeling okay with some of it kind of doing its thing here and giving me some different shades and stuff. Let's get some of this white. Whoa, look at that. Whoa. Oh my gosh. Whoa, this is already pretty. And you know, working in the art journal has helped me move back to doing a little bit larger work. I kind of got into working small with that journal before that journal, because it's easier to just do a little project for the day and just see where you can go. And then working in that journal got me excited to move back big and just see, like, where could I go working big again. And that's kind of the fun thing about working and experimenting and trying new stuff and figuring stuff out, like in a journal or something like that, because it might propel you in some new different directions. And I feel like we're going to move into maybe larger pieces for a while, and then maybe I'll go back to the smaller pieces. I don't know. It just depends on what I'm inspired to do when I come and sit and play and have fun with you guys. Do a little mark making in here. Ooh, I like that. I don't want to overdo it. I'm keeping in my mind that I wanted to do, kind of want some of this gray up here before I come back with that blue. I want to do oh yeah, I want to keep it a little more, not quite so busy. Might not be where I end up, but that was the initial goal. Do we ever end up where we intend, though? No. No matter how hard we try, we end up all over the place. Let's grab a different paintbrush. Still using a filbert. This is my Princeton and Bria filberts. They're good for acrylic paint. They're good for oil paint. They're stiffer than watercolor brushes. which is perfect for stuff like this that we're doing. All right, I'm kind of thinking, let's move this around some. And I do some of this with this to spread paint around, some of it to get rid of paintbrush marks. Some of it just because I like painting with this big spreader thing. I just love it. Let's throw some of this down here. And I've had this thing forever, like years and years, because you use it with oil and cold wax painting, which is another thing I kind of go in and out of playing with, is oil paint. So it's not like I just got it, but it's just a tool that I have rediscovered and thought, why do I have this put away in the closet? Pull that back out. Now I am trying to not have a mark where I just left that and I see that I'm kind of creating a mark. Now I'm kind of thinking if we could turn this some. Now the only thing I don't like about this paper, which is one thing I kind of noticed using it before, I'm going to pick up some of this white, is that it buckles and kind of rolls some, which is a little bit harder to control when it's not sitting flat for you. Like I can't scrape this across here because it was a big dip. And I kind of want to scrape it across there. Like I could hold it down maybe, or I could press real hard, but if I press real hard, then I'm mixing all the paints together rather than scraping it along the top and getting some interesting marks. So just kind of throwing my thoughts out there as I'm working here. Look how pretty this is. I mean, just looking at it just like this, it is pretty. I like it, I like it. I could get the smaller catalyst wedge, some other silicone type spreader, and we could see if that would be easier to be able to do this with. I don't know, it does warp in weird ways. You'll just notice that sometimes as you're working on something, like, that's kind of weird, it's not staying flat. Oh my goodness, look at this. I kind of want a little bit of this maybe right up here. Just kind of thinking like, maybe a little bit down at the bottom. See, now that's the bad part about wanting to maybe have it go this way. Can't fit it all on the camera, but we're trying. I kind of need to get, let's see, let's spread some of this off the edge of the spreader. Nice thing about these is they're silicone also, so the paint just wipes off. Ooh, we could get out some of our silicone spreaders. I could see if there's any mark making opportunities here. Just a little bit of, if the paint is still wet, which it may not be, but is there any opportunity to make just a little mark in there that's not super in your face, but a little bit? Kind of not. Okay. I do like the shapes on the catalyst wedges though. Now I'm kind of thinking we need to dry this a tiny bit, and I could mark make a little on top of it. And I like it this way too, but I really love it tall. I am kind of wondering now that I did that, if I just kind of come through, oh yeah, look at that, with the edge of a knife, maybe we'll get a little tiny bit of some scratching through the paint. That might look good. Kind of feeling like it needs to be this away. These things on the bottom shelf like to come out and play. I need to move that pencil sharpener up, I guess. I always knock it down. And we could have done this a little earlier, but I'm just thinking as I'm going, can I scratch a little bit in there? All right, I'm gonna keep drying this and I'll be right back. All right, I think we're mostly dry. I kind of want to add a few marks in here. I do actually really love the piece in this direction. So I'm gonna add the marks in the direction that I think I'm gonna have it, just so I can kind of look at it. And I don't necessarily want the marks to be super vivid and taking away from what's going on. I just want to have it in there. If you get closer, you know, maybe you would see it. So they are just like part of a layer, but not necessarily so distracting. Okay, I love this. Ooh, let me move some of these painterly things out of the way so I don't do what I always do. Get paint everywhere. That's why I put the lids on those. And look how good this stuff comes off of here. I'm telling you, the last time I used this stuff, I ripped up the paper and I was like, oh, I don't think I like it. But all of a sudden now I think I do like it, but I don't like how wavy it gets. Which, if it's too wavy and you're like, how do I get that wave out? I'd probably stack it under a stack of books for a while, or just, you know, something to flatten it out. Oh, look at that. Oh, I love it with like a little, look at that. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I love it this way right here. Great big abstract. We can look at it other ways and see what we think. I'm kind of loving it that way too. I like that there's a little dark edge and a little dark edge, and you got this great big yumminess of the blue. Oh, I don't know. Kind of good this way too. I don't know. What do you think? What's your favorite direction? Hope you had fun painting with me today. I definitely wanted a bigger piece, pulling out some of these really lovely colors. I love the way they work together in the piece that we ended up with. And I'll see you guys next time.